Hi, this is Scott from Chino Basin Water Conservation District, here in our WaterWise Community Center demonstration garden, continuing our series of what to expect with popular native plant species in your garden in the summer. Here, I'm with the very popular grass, Canyon Prince Wild Rye, Leymus Canyon Prince. Leymus Canyon Prince is a dwarf cultivar of the much larger and more aggressively spreading wild rye, and it also has this beautiful bluish tone to the leaves, which is part of why it is so popular as an ornamental plant selection and a native species. So all of the Leymus genus, including the very popular Canyon Prince Wild Rye cultivar, are cool season growing grasses. And that is very important to understand in terms of what to expect from the various native grasses in our gardens. As a cool season grass, technically it is somewhat evergreen, but it is going to look its best during the cool season, and it is going to put on most of its growth during the fall and some early spring as well, really slowing down in the summer and going somewhat semi-dormant. And so this kind of dryness that you see in the middle of the plant is totally normal for Canyon Prince Wild Rye in the summer, to be expected. And in fact, you are not going to improve this situation by just watering a bunch more. So know that if you are doing your deep occasional soaks, as we recommend for typical native garden situations, that this is perfectly healthy Canyon Prince Wild Rye, just showing its normal reaction to the summer heat as a cool season grass. And so how do you take care of it from here? Well, basically, you're going to give it a hard cutback in the early fall, or as soon as you see the very first signs of new growth emerging in the fall, and that will allow the whole plant to refresh itself quite quickly. We recommend doing it every year. We're going to have a maintenance video showing you exactly how to do that coming out later in the fall. But just know a little bit of this is normal. If you water and water and water, what you will do is you will end up with a plant that just sort of flops over more, and it's going to look like someone slept in it for the night. And so you can choose to use this strategically in the garden in terms of its aesthetics, kind of more in between other plants or even behind another plant. If you are worried about avoiding this look, we tend to just mix it in here or there and don't mind it at all. Here we can see Canyon Prince Wild Rye going into sort of the more extreme form of summer dormancy, because we have a different set of conditions in this landscape area out in our public park. We have extremely fast draining gravelly soils, and we're also irrigating this area a little bit less because the oak trees behind us have some roots out into the area where we're growing the smaller plants in the landscape. We are only watering about once a month in the summer because the oak trees really prefer sort of the least amount of water possible after they're very well established. And so what you can see is kind of the same pattern that we saw in the garden, but just even more so. There's some leaves that are retaining color, but a lot of them have gone very dry. We're going to treat it in the exact same way. We're going to give it a hard cutback down to maybe 6 inches, maybe a little bit more in the early fall. And it's going to grow back with that lush, cool season foliage just as soon as things start to cool down some. So it's up to you if you want to water just a little bit more to retain more leaf color, or certainly if you are in an area where there's any wildfire hazard, you do not want to let things get this dry and to leave that in the garden. But here in a very urban area, we are able to embrace the seasons more in this landscape. And for some people, once you're tuned into the cycles of a native garden, personally, I think this tan and kind of gold color, the khaki colors, and the contrast between that and the little bit of the bluish leaf that's left is actually quite lovely. And then I look forward to the time of year where we give things those cutbacks, we get those first cool days, and it's like a breath of fresh air as that vibrant new foliage starts growing in. So the message in the end is it's up to you how you plan for the summer dormant period in your garden, but go into it with a plan, knowing what to expect from your plants so you can get the look that you want.